Hey, it's Dave here. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. Today I want to talk a little bit about when I was a younger man, when I was a kid, and even as long ago as 3 to 4 years ago. As a kid, I was always very physical. I would run everywhere I went, like any kid. I went out in the yard and played with my friends. I played baseball, I played football, I played all the sports. I had every reason to not ever be fat or or fatty or heavy or weight. I had every reason for that because I was physical. I was constantly outside doing something, going somewhere, riding a bike, riding skateboards, doing all that kind of stuff. Now, there was definitely a warning sign that I recognize now that I never recognized then and wouldn't have recognized even now unless I had the problems that I'm having now. Like there's a particular age, and I know that it happens with women a lot of times with sports. With men, it's different for us because we hit this age where we want to start bulking up and gaining muscle and getting fit, looking fit, I should say. So I went from this age being very young to middle age with all this physical exercise and keeping fit and not ever gaining any weight necessarily. But I was also on the flip side when I started working out in high school or so, maybe middle school, high school, when I actually started doing weights and lifting weights and physically trying to stress my body. The interesting thing is that I never really was muscular. I never gained muscle. It's um it's nothing that I would have understood then. I would have never understood it 5 years ago, but I definitely get it now. I was insulin resistant even back then. And the insulin resistance, not diabetes, I was beyond that already. I think as a kid, I was probably insulin resistant, or I was probably diabetic as a kid. By the time I got into high school and you know medium age, I don't even know what that age bracket is called, but by the time I was trying to put on muscle and gain muscle weight, muscle mass, muscle fat, I was already insulin resistant. So even no matter how much I worked out, I could not gain muscle. I couldn't even when I was in the Navy for 4 years. And trust me, I worked out. I worked out definitely 5 days a week, sometimes several times a day, and sometimes even more often than that, depending on what I was specifically tasked with at that point. So I went through all these years of never really gaining weight, getting fat, looking fatty. I never had that, and I never was able to gain muscle. So now I'm realizing that that whole thing of lifting all those weights and not gaining any muscle was because I was insulin resistant going all the way back to probably when I was, I don't know, 10 or 12 years old. And I had made other comments on this channel and other posts that I've done that I always had high sugar in my life. My grandparents, my parents, we always had a lot of sugar and we always had endless access to it. As a kid, I added sugar to sugared stuff because it tastes good and I was a kid. So now I'm realizing that all those years I was probably diabetic and pre-diabetic and insulin resistant, and that's what caused me to not be able to gain weight and to not be able to build mass. And I see this in some kids. I can look at a kid and tell if they have diabetes problems, diabetes issues. You can tell by their body, the way their body looks. But now, after the fact, I can look at a kid and I can probably pick out the 3 out of 10 that are insulin resistant or having metabolic issues and will have further metabolic issues in the future. So just because a person has doesn't doesn't or does have diabetes or prediabetes doesn't mean they're going to be fat or skinny necessarily. There's definitely there's a rhyme to that reason. Like you can eat a lot and not gain any weight, and your body doesn't appropriately use the energy to build muscle and mass because you're insulin resistant, because the body's insulin resistant. That would be a good indicator that somebody should get, either themselves or their kids, an A1C blood test and check and see for sure whether they're pre-diabetic or diabetic. Hey, I know this is just a random post, but I wanted to share this because I think it's important for anybody that's having any of these questions about prediabetes, diabetes, and metabolic issues. This may address some of the concerns they're actually experiencing, and definitely for kids that are experiencing some of these things, this may be a call to action to get things checked out. So this whole metabolic dysfunction starts after prediabetes and diabetes for many years. Insulin resistance or insulin levels can be diagnosed or tested way before even prediabetes or diabetes. So if the blood tests are correct and you take action based on those blood tests, you can actually turn this whole thing around way earlier than when you have physical problems or physical issue or have just problems with your health. Anyways, if this is interesting at all, do me a favor and give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to hear more about this kind of stuff, do me a favor and subscribe. I hope you're having a great day. I hope it's sunny where you're at. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.